Hello again, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Browns Latest. I'm Dave Grendzynski, and this is where you can stop in and get caught up on some of the latest news involving our favorite team in the AFC North, the whole NFL for that matter. It's the Cleveland Browns. Thank you so much to everyone who has liked our previous episodes. Hopefully, this one makes the list, and also to all of you who have already subscribed to the channel. We're on our way to 7,000 subscribers. So please phone the neighbors, wake the kids, and if they have a minute, ask them to subscribe. And then I also appreciate all of the comments down in the viewer comment section. Now, coming up on today's show, we're going to talk about why, after the first few days of training camp next month, you're probably going to sit back and wonder, how much did OTAs and minicamp really matter? Also ahead, the NFLPA. They put out a report card each year, and boy, they ripped the Browns in one area. But I've got a solution. We can improve this grade in a heartbeat, and I'm going to show you why. We're also going to talk about Kenny Pickett. I have taken a look at this, and I feel I have found the way. I think the Browns will use him in order to set him up to win. And then down in the viewer comments, someone says we should leave the dog pound by the lake. What? Say it isn't so. But first things first, let's talk a little training camp versus mini camp. And a month from now, folks, you're probably going to be sitting there going, my goodness, mini camp and OTA seems like it was 3 years ago. But I'm telling you, but this idea actually came from a viewer comment. We're not even to the viewer. We're leading with a viewer comment today. Gina Lemonade 64 had said, I've never watched training camp before, and she was wondering if I could provide some details on the differences between, training camp and mandatory mini camp and the OTAs. She knows they go to pads, they wear pads and everything, but she was like, what days are the media out there? What are the big differences? And when we go through the differences, folks, like it's just going to show you how quickly this quarterback battle is going to change. Here's why. Let's look at some of the differences. Okay, so mandatory minicamp and OTAs, there's no live contact. There's no full contact drills or pads except for helmets and protective knees and elbow pads, things like that. Teams may hold up to 2 on-field sessions a day, but usually 1 full speed practice and 1 walkthrough is all it is. And again, no live tackling, blocking, or offense or defense. It's mostly about installing the playbook and things like that. Now then you get to training camp. Now you're talking about full contact practices allowed. Players are in full pads. Drills include live tackling, blocking, full offense, full defense. And so this is where it really starts to ramp up. And then, the intensity and the physicality much higher. And you're simulating actual game conditions. And what really happens is when they get these combined practices, they'll have one with Carolina and one with Philadelphia. That's where it really ramps up. That's where your ones are going against their ones. And this is what's replaced preseason games, folks. Because the preseason games, and for all intents and purposes, they don't really matter as much. I mean, they're more for the young guys trying to make the team. But the media is out there every day, and there will be roughly 6 or 8 practices that are open to the public. Last year there were 6, but you got to get tickets fast. They go fast, folks. And I go the one training camp. I mean, I'm out there every year. And so, but those tickets do go fast for the public. And so, I'm telling you, folks, when training camp gets started, with us being able to see everything that's going out there every day and all the reports that are coming in. I mean, you're gonna after probably whether it's the first few days or the first week, you might look back and say, did OTAs even matter at this point? And so there is a significant difference between training camp and minicamp. Gina Lemonade, I hope that helps, and hopefully it helped others who are out there watching today. Now, we got to talk about this NFLPA report card. Boy, did they ding the Browns in one specific area. Now, ESPN did a nice piece on the report card. Because what had happened was last year between August and November, they surveyed almost 1,700 players and a variety of different topics, and then they grade. The NFLPA grades based on, these are all anonymous surveys. And so the players speak freely because nobody knows who's saying what. And ESPN spoke with players who talked about the treatment of families. And let's take a look at this report card. I mean, I don't think the Browns want to look at it, but the Browns, they got a D plus in the treatment of families. That is the 5th worst grade in that category. The report cards noted that Browns players who were surveyed, quote, believe that the coaches' families are treated better than the players' families, as the coaches' families have a post-game meetups inside the stadium while the players' families meet in a tent in the parking lot. Now, according to the team, the tent is heated and the organization spends about $200,000 a game on that space. Browns left guard Joe Bitonio, he's the longest tenured member of the Browns. Remember that. He said there have been improvements as far as families go. So he's thrown a little water on this fire. But here's how this is all going to go away and be fixed, folks. The new stadium. The new stadium will fix all this. I mean, they will look at that, and I'm sure there will be a designated area. Now, a team that Cincinnati got annihilated on this report card. I mean, the players were down there in Cincinnati. They barely get a tent, and it's like they were saying it's like 20 yards, by the players' parking lot or something, and They got hammered. So, once again, we beat Cincinnati, which is, I mean, it's par for the course. And so we also beat them in NFLPA grade. So, but that's what I'm saying, folks. We can fix all of this easily when the new stadium is built. Now, the big question, when that new stadium is built, who will be the quarterback? We don't know that. But this year, there's a good chance it's going to be Kenny Pickett, which I know many of you probably just cringed and fell off of your chairs. But it's okay, because I'm going to tell you how I think the Browns can use Kenny Pickett and set him up to win. So here's what we're going to do. Let's break it down. I got the Kenny Pickett breakdown for you, okay? So here it is. So when he was with the Steelers, there you could see his numbers. He was 14-11 with the Steelers. Now, his completion percentage is basically the same for his career with the Steelers. It's like 62%. Remember, when we looked at completion percentage, 62 to 65 in the NFL is considered good. So you could argue that Kenny Pickett has a good completion percentage. Now look at the touchdowns and interceptions, 13 apiece with Pittsburgh. If you add the Philly his stats with Philly, he's at 15 and 14. Now, I see a lot of people out there saying that Kenny Pickett takes care of the ball. I don't see how Kenny Pickett takes care of the ball. I mean, he's going tit for tat, touchdown for interception, and then he threw 2 TDs and one interception with the Eagles last year. But anyway, so then there's his quarterback rating. Not that great with the Steelers, but look at that little blip down below. His one start with the Eagles, he went 10 of 15. For 143 yards and a touchdown, no interceptions, and a QB rating of 119.6. And so you say, okay, Dave, what the hell? What does that mean? How does that help us? I'm going to tell you how I think this helps us. Now, one thing about that game, he played that game with a broken rib. So there's that. But it's the 10 of 15 for 143 yards. Only 15 passes he threw. Saquon Barkley in that game ran for 167 yards. 31 carries, 167 yards. Add it up. If the Browns run the ball the way we expect them to run the ball, getting back to that zone scheme, here's what's going to happen. Remember, more cars on the road, more accidents. Kenny Pickett throws more passes, more interceptions. And you can say the same thing about Flacco. This theory, to me, applies to Flacco and the rookies. I don't think you're going to need the quarterback to throw it a lot. We're not going to, gone are the days of Deshaun Watson and trying to throw it 50 times a game. Made us all crazy. We're going back to old school, folks. And Kenny Pickett's a deep ball, anything over 20 yards, it gets really sketchy. We've just shown you, 13 touchdowns, or 15 and 14 if you want to do his entire career, 15 touchdowns and 14 interceptions. He doesn't really take care of the ball. So people have to stop saying that. But I think if it's more of a game management situation and you limit the throws, if you can get that running game going, that's what's going to be critical, because that's what the Eagles did in that game, and they ended up winning that game 41-7. So the defense showed out too. So everything that happened in that Eagles game that Kenny Pickett started is exactly what has to happen for the Browns when he starts. And I would say, again, for all of our quarterbacks, because of the situation that we're in, whether it's Flacco, who his MO is he throws picks, and we saw it killed us in that game against Houston, that playoff game, and it hurt him last year too. And then our rookies. The way you take pressure off a rookie quarterback is you run the ball and you play defense. And so I think this is how you can set Kenny Pickett up to win. And we've already seen that recipe work with him last year with the Eagles. Limit the throws, and plus he was playing with a broken rib. So, he's got toughness, and he's also got situational grit. Let's not forget that. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go back and watch a few shows ago when we went over the quarterback's best attributes. But Kenny Pickett has situational grit. If that's not a difference maker, I don't know what is. And so that is how I think Kenny Pickett, that's how they can set him up to win, folks. Limit the throws. Let's run that ball down people's throats. Let's get that running game going. And the defense balls out. It's not only going to work for Kenny, it's going to work for everybody. I think all of our quarterbacks will have a chance to succeed if that recipe comes together like it did in that game for the Eagles last year. Now, the one thing that always comes together for us are the viewer comments. You guys are always in the end zone. You're never throwing picks. It's always touchdown, touchdown, touchdown. Not like Kenny, touchdown, pick, touchdown, pick. That doesn't happen here. It's always touchdowns. And today we're going to start with Shree Potts Ramsey, who says, if this team goes with Kenny Pickett, knowing he is not the best QB out there, it proves the losing mentality continues. In order to move forward, the Browns need to change. This is ridiculous. It should be clearly Flacco because respectfully he has earned it, and Shedeur should be up next. So I don't think he likes Kenny Pickett. So remains to be seen. But this goes back to what we talked about at the beginning of the show. Training camp, it's going to evolve quickly. We're going to know sooner than later. But I just think Kenny Pickett will get the first crack at it. And then we'll see what he can do. We'll see what he can do. But if they lean on the run and lean on the defense and don't lean on Kenny, good things might happen. Jacob Hinkle, 8581. Leave the dog pound when we go to Brook Park. The dog pound is Ravens history. Nothing before 1999. I don't feel the dog pound is Ravens history. The dog pound is still ours. There is part of me, that you want to leave some of that, because this does seem to be like two teams. I always feel like it's there's the old Browns and the new Browns, and so in the new Browns, the 1999 up until now Browns who have done absolutely nothing. So I get us. I would want to leave 1999 until now behind. That's the only thing I want to leave. Anything that happened before now, when we were great and everything was, with the heyday, I don't want to leave. I want to bring that with us to Brook Park and leave from 1999 until now. Leave all that, except for maybe a couple of years. We'll take those with us, but that's it. Okay, moving on. King Smith 3607. Now he's talking about comparing Judkins to Ashton Gente, who, a lot of people were in the comments saying, oh, we should have taken him at 5. Well, here's the thing. King Smith says, I think Judkins will be a better NFL back. Now, I don't know if he's going to be a better NFL back, but I think he is definitely in the mix for Offensive Rookie of the Year and definitely a 1,000-yard rusher. I also think Sampson could be a 1,000-yard rusher as well. Now, I use this one mostly because the handle is phenomenal. It just cracks me up. The handle is Nuts and Chocolate 56. Simply, all he says is rookies should not start, and so I don't think one of the rookies will start week 1. I think we'll eventually get to our rookies, but I'm with you. I'm a big fan of, after watching guys like Aaron Rodgers and Mahomes and Breeze and all these guys. Man, they all sit for a little while and soak it all in and learn the speed of the game and and then they get to take over. I've been a fan of that forever. Okay, and then we're going to end on Barry Collins 78, who says, love your podcast. I live in Australia. I listen to this first thing every morning. I've been trying to tell you. Thank you so much, Barry. for watching from Australia. And I've been trying to tell you, folks, Browns fandom runs deep, and it is worldwide. And I love hearing, I know we have people all over the country watching, but, if you're somewhere out there around the world, please let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. But Australia checking in. Barry Collins, 78, thank you so much. Okay, that's going to do it for today's show. Go Browns. We'll see you next time.